You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
The National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, they conducted a national exit poll that looked at, among other things, the key issues of importance to black voters in the 2020 election. Here are some of the results. 74% of the respondents said the number one issue they want President-elect Joe Biden to address is a plan to reduce structural racism. Tied for number two at 61.8% and 63.3% are policing and criminal justice reform and a plan to eradicate COVID-19. The third priority at 58.7% is protecting services like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Overall, those priorities were the same for women, men, Gen Z, and millennials. Joining us right now is Melanie Campbell, Executive Director and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Melanie, glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Any surprises for you in this exit polling data?
No. I would say one surprise. I expected there to be some variation between black women and black men and the generations, but actually for all generations, it was pretty much close to the same thing. There was maybe a 1.5%, nothing of any significance. So that was a little surprising. Quite frankly, but what we were excited about is that in this poll that we had about a third of the respondents were black men, and so it was really helpful to be able to see that issues are not what may divide some of our decisions about who we vote for, and that these issues of life or death, economic concerns as well. When you saw the information around even lowering taxes and things like that. Are pretty much the same. So, of course, the messages have to be nuanced because none of us are monolith. But it was good to see that we were really close around the issues of concern. And Georgia, by the way, had a significant oversampling in Georgia and Michigan and Pennsylvania in that poll.
So, so break down number one, though. How do
racism.
Okay, that's like very broad. So were folks specific in terms of what specifically were they looking for Biden and Harris to do?
No, we didn't have the ability to go lower than giving them variations of issues, but they had at least 10 issues to decide to how they wanted to rate, and those and what you see out of that comes 1, 2, and 3, and no matter how we ask the question. The number one issue was a plan to eradicate structural racism when you ask the question about what you want the president, whoever gets elected as president of the United States would do. When you ask the question about how is this impacting you personally, you and your family, racism still and rising hate crimes, how the number one issue when it comes to the black community. And so when we look at that data, and then we look at the data we released in September with the Essence poll. And the other thing, Roland, is this poll, because we were many of the precincts that we work in, our folks on the ground work in, are in low-performing areas, more low-income areas. This poll had more people who had made $25,000 or less a year. The Essence poll is higher. It comes from black women who are middle income primarily who respond. So it gave us, and we're going to go deeper in the data. I'm working with Dr. Elsie Scott with the Ron Walters Leadership Policy Center, Dr. Avis Jones-Weaver, and Holly Holiday and other sisters who are part of our research team to go even deeper in each of these states. Not just for what's happening in the immediate, but for the long haul, and really go a little deeper to find out more. So we're going to likely do some kind of poll on January 5th in Georgia, for example, where we may be able to go a little deeper with that poll because we've already done the top line to see what else we can find out.
One of the things that, the reason I asked that, because I think the problem is, if we don't be as specific as possible, frankly, folks can say, well, it didn't happen. Well, I mean, addressing systemic racism is kind of broad. And right. So I think it's important to drill down further on that particular point.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with, but I would say, and not but also because of what we've been addressing, we know that there's some when you talk about criminal justice and policing reform, that's an issue around that's also impacted by systemic racism. You're talking about COVID-19. There's an element of that. We know that African Americans and Black and brown folks are more impacted when it comes to the issue around higher mortality rates. If you talk about any kind of major issues, economic issues, there's a level of that. One of the things that we are looking at when we use this data is also to look at how we engage this administration that we helped elect in President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris, to look at government structure on how we are going to address some of these things when it comes to contracting, and how we look at some of these things. So it's not some siloed issue. And I haven't had a chance to really go deep in looking at all of the transition things, but we're looking at all of that to see what ways we can make folks see that their vote did matter faster than the broader issue of structural racism. But there are elements of issues that you can address that are also tied to racial injustice in this country.
All right, then. Melanie Campbell, always a pleasure. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
All right, thank you.
Back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.